Okay, so our next speaker is Pastor Charlene Edmonds, and she's a friend of Darrell Cook's. If you'd like to come right on up, Charlene.
Thanks, Hannah. Why don't we give Hannah a great big hand for putting this together. So as we pay tribute and celebrate the life and the homegoing of a son, a brother, a father, and our friend, Darrell E. Cook, I'm comforted in knowing that there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven. This particular scripture found in Ecclesiastes 3:2 goes on to say, a time to be born and a time to die. Today we celebrate the life of Darrell Cook, how some knew Darrell from his hometown of Fairmont, West Virginia, those childhood friends that he had, others from days in one of our many stores in the fields, or many bands that he was affiliated with. Whatever, wherever, or whenever, Darrell's attitude and Darrell's character never changed. And I think we all can identify with that. He was the same always. I asked a number of our co-workers in the merchandising department, I kind of went through and I said, what are some of the things that you remember or that you thought about when we found out that we were going to have this? And some of the funny things that we thought about. When Darrell first came to the merchandising department, Darrell wore 2 pair of glasses. He'd have these 2 pair of glasses on. And you could hear him going around the corners in the building. And Darrell would pass by my cube and he'd always be like, mm-hmm. You don't know what he's mm-hmm to, but he was always mm-hmm. And then he would get to one of the particular cubes, which was Paulella. And poor Paulella, he would go by her cube and he'd be like, what it is? And she'd say, what it is? And he said, no, what it is. And he had to break her in to talk like him. And it was the funniest thing to see poor Paulella trying to talk like Darrell Cook. It was just absolutely funny. Before Darrell came and before I had any idea of what Darrell even looked like, a couple of our coworkers, we used to faithfully have lunch. And one of the things that we would always talk about when we were going to have potlucks, you know, I'd get up in there and I'd want to fry fish and I'd want to do different things. And Tim and Danielle would always tell me about this person that they would get this fish from. I had no idea who he was. But they would always say, we're going to get some fish from Darrell. And I'm like, Darrell, y'all know a fisherman or something? Yeah, Darrell. Darrell be going fishing. We're going to get catfish. They had it all planned. Well, when I got to see who Darrell was and him talking about his fishing episodes, and not only that, he just loved to fish and he loved to cook. He didn't even discriminate. He wanted to cook it too. Some of the things that we thought about in the department, I asked our vice president, Dell, I said, Dell, what reminds you of Darrell? And he said, Darrell always wanted to have a potluck. He always wanted to eat. And the funny thing about it is because the first time we had the first potluck once he was in the company, something that he did was he wanted to cook a turkey. Now, we would have potlucks, and of course you would have some dishes, but we never had a turkey. Darrell cooked the turkey, and he came in and he said, you know what, I see why everybody wants to come into merchandising. Because y'all love to cook and y'all love to eat, and he fit right in. I think the next potluck he had done cooked, we had some cabbage. Matter of fact, they got hooked on the cabbage. And they would, every potluck, they would say, Darrell, please cook some cabbage. He cooked the ham. I mean, he was cooking all kind of stuff. Well, one of the insults that I had was because my birthday is April Fool's Day and his is April 2nd. And Darrell wanted to invite the whole department, not only the whole department, but the whole building to a potluck. I said, Darrell, you can't do that because you're turning this into a company meal. This is supposed to be for merchandising. Well, he didn't like that. So then he told me, you get on my nerve, you act like my big sisters. Just want y'all to know. You know, but Darrell was Darrell, and we loved him because of his personality and because of his wit and because he always wanted to do for others. Steve Hasselbacher, he reminded me, he said he would take Darrell to work at times, and Darrell always wanted to pay him in fish. Even though Steve didn't eat fish or cook fish, Darrell would get upset with him for not taking his fish. And so that was one of the stories there, his fish. All of the different stories that we have and all of the different memories that we have, I really believe that we could all sit back and laugh at some of the things that we went through with Darrell Cook. He was a mess, but we loved him. We loved him for who he was. In closing, I would like to thank Darrell's family for sharing Darrell with us. His mom is here, his sister is here, his son is here, and I just would like to thank y'all for sharing Darrell with us. I would like to thank some of those friends, Carol and Janine, who allowed me to, in Darrell days, once he was sick, we would get donations and different things together, and we would take things to him, things that we thought he needed because we wanted to make sure that he ate. And he was giving us a little bit of a problem. He didn't want to eat. He was just trying to really, I had to really act like a big sister and say, look, you're going to eat today. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. And he cooperated. We love Darrell. And so I would just like to take the time to just thank y'all for sharing him with us. I would like to thank the Music and Arts merch team for all of the donations and everything that we did as a family, because we are a family, to just make Darrell comfortable. I think back on Sunday, June the 7th, I remember taking Darrell communion at his sister's house. And then on June the 20th, Darrell was called home to be with the Lord. In closing, something that came to my mind, because we're all here because Darrell really played an important part in all of our lives. And I think we all have our personal stories of something that Darrell did. It could have been funny, whatever it was, Darrell did something to just do something to all of our lives. With that said, something that I wanted to close with was something that I thought about, and it comes from a scripture. And what it made me think of is Darrell fought the good fight. He finished the race. He kept the faith. Now there is a store for him, the crown of righteousness. And he's right now looking down on us. Melissa bought a cake in. And when I saw that cake, I said, you know what, you are in trouble. Because if you didn't make that cake for him when he was alive, he's sure talking about you right now, saying, how dare you make me a North Carolina cake and I'm not there to eat it. And for some of us, we know Darrell loved his ice cream cakes. I mean, he was faithful to them ice cream cakes. I mean, we were so anxious to see him eat. Every time he said he'd rub his belly, I was going to have Anna come up here and do how he would rub his belly. We knew he wanted an ice cream cake. We would run out to the store so he could eat the whole cake if he needed to, just to keep his strength up. And so in celebration, because this is a celebration of the life and how he just did something in all of our lives, we're here to celebrate Darrell's life. And I know he's looking down and saying, I can't believe that one is here and this one is here. He's happy today for all that's out, for all the music he's going to hear, and for all the things that he is going to see on today. So thank you for coming. And we're just happy that you're here. And let's join in together with the celebration. Thank you.